Thank you for joining me in Niagara Falls. I'm very happy to be back. I haven't streamed out here in quite some time. We're looking at the Horseshoe Falls right now, but I thought this would be a nice opening scene for us. So thanks everybody for joining us. We're just barely missing a sunset here, as the times of course are later now. But thanks everybody for coming in. We'll take a walk around the entire Niagara Falls. I'll move towards the bridge you see barely over on the left there. That's the Rainbow Bridge leading over to Niagara Falls in the USA. Off in the distance you might be able to see one of the buildings there. That's Casino Seneca, Niagara. Here's the Horseshoe Falls. Forgive my shaky camera movements. I got gloves on. It is some cold. My understanding is it might only be about 0 or -1. Thanks for coming in. Me Brain, Bearded Eagle, good to see you here. Marielle, thank you for coming in. Michael's Adventures, my dear friend, thank you for being here. And Palettes, Pouts, Perfumes, and Panning, Poppin' the Popcorn is here. Jaden, my good friend, thank you for being here. Fanatic Guide and Northeast Lincolnshire, good to see you here. Ali's Craft Pursuits and Tex-Mex, good to see you in the house as well. Amy Freedom Lover, thank you for coming in. And forgive my disappearance there. I expected to be in Toronto yesterday for some activity, and literally at the last second had some family stuff come up as I was on the highway just about to enter Toronto. But this is what I had promised for about a month now that I would be bringing to everybody again, as a look at the beautiful snow and ice covered Niagara Falls. Might be interesting to know that we had a snowfall, bad storm actually, and it was about a month and a half ago. Most of that snow never actually did melt because it never got warm enough between now and then. So a little bit might have, and we had a couple of smaller snowfalls since then. But I just wanted to show this to everybody because this is the last time, hopefully ever, that we're going to see Niagara Falls in the state that it's in. In Ontario, Canada, where I am, we've been under heavy restrictions again for a long time, and those are going to be lifted on Tuesday. So this is my last opportunity to have a look at Niagara Falls. Hopefully the next time that we're here, maybe even as early as next week, there'll be more people. I just want to give you a look back at the Horseshoe Falls there. Some people might dub that the Canadian Falls. And when we look back the other way, we see the American Falls. Kristen Walton, my love, thank you for coming in. Forgive me if I miss anybody in the chat. When we look around here, we see this Table Rock area. Now there's a restaurant in there. Parking lot where we usually park over here. Costs about 30 bucks. We got to get passes again. We used to have passes, and I can tell Kristen mine didn't work today. They actually extended them, so we bought them I think 2 years ago. Cost somewhere around 70 bucks for 2 cars, but they're tied to your license plate, and they extended it, so all last year it seemed to work, but now it's had it. So if you want to park close to this area, everything I talk about is in Canadian dollars, of course. But we'll get those passes again, and then you can come down here obviously as much as you want. That Table Rock area has a restaurant where we've enjoyed at least one lunch, and then gift shops and things like that. Niagara Falls is known as the honeymoon capital of the world, so you can imagine there's lots of touristy things to do here and lots of touristy things to buy and give to people as gifts and things. So hopefully we'll keep this live stream going for a few hours today, and after nightfall comes, I'll give you a look at what they've got with lights that shine in these huge LED panels onto the falls. It really looks beautiful. And hopefully everybody's enjoying the look around. You can tell how windy it is by the direction of the mist and the force that follows it. Oh, I'm dressed in layers and layers, but today I'm gonna have to keep moving. The fingertips are already biting. As long as we keep walking, we're okay. They do a great job of keeping this entire city clean and upkept. Niagara Falls is just beautiful. I've been living here for just about 6 years now, 5.5 years. But I was born, raised, grew up, and continue to work in and around Toronto a lot of the time. Testing out a new phone today too. I finally upgraded after what we went through in Ottawa. I found that a lot of the streets that I would walk down without great lighting would not show up well with my 7-year-old original iPhone SE. So I did finally upgrade, and what we're using now to film is an iPhone 12 mini. And the reason why is because there's so little difference between a 12 and a 13 that I don't think that matters. And the size makes it so that I can fit the phone in the gimbal with an OtterBox type case. That's important because when we're out in these freezing temperatures, batteries drain so fast, but by having the case on the phone kind of keeps it a little bit warmer, and we might get a few more minutes or maybe even hours of activity out of it. So like I said, we'll keep it going as long as we can today. But thank you everybody again for hanging out. You can see all the opportunities there are for great selfies and videos, and I'm sure there'll be lots of streamers and things coming out. I've been lucky to be here streaming many times. But I did want to catch this again while the snow and the ice are still here. And thanks everybody for hanging out. I also have an iPhone 11. That's my main phone. Public Game, good to see you back in the house. Thank you for coming in. So it's not that I want to be cheap or anything like that. I just demand value out of every electronic device I have. I try to hang on to them as long as possible. And only when it starts to hurt do I change. But you know, still cost effective. An iPhone 12 mini gives us just about the best that Apple has to offer, minus 1 year, and certainly is an upgrade from my 6 or 7 year old iPhone SE. So Tex-Mex, yeah, and 12 Max. See, Bearded Eagle, if I was to get a new phone for myself, I'd go, you know, all the way or whatever. Now, Kristen got me the 11 I'm using because I still wouldn't have upgraded probably. I just want to show you some of the hotels. I mean, there's tons of hotels here and great views that you can get with the rooms. And, of course, known as the honeymoon capital of the world, you'll see a lot of honeymoon suites and jacuzzis and all kinds of stuff. Lots of room service. A couple of casinos are here on the Canadian side, and then, like I said earlier, there's Seneca Niagara on the American side as well. The boats are not running right now. My guess is because of the ice that floats around in the water down there, and when it's safe, I'm sure they bring those out. So we'll keep ourselves apprised as to when that will be happening. Our theme park, Canada's Wonderland, is expected to open during the month of April. So we will get out there and do some filming there as well as quick as we can. So hopefully you'll stick with me for that as well. No matter how many times I come down here and just walk around, I just never get tired of it. It's so beautiful, Niagara Falls. You're seeing a lot less people than, you know, we would normally see, and part of that has to do with COVID and all that stuff, but, you know, the restrictions have just been unbelievable here. So again, those will be lifted on Tuesday, not completely, but some. We can start getting into indoor dining and going to gyms and having whatever they're going to call normalcy from now on. Still masks though. I just want to give you a really good look at this. Niagara Falls has always been a part of my life in some way, shape, or form. Many years ago, I was a DJ for most of my adult life, and I was lucky enough to have spent a lot of time in the States. No flights or anything like that. I certainly wasn't making $100,000 a night, but I did get to cross the border at least 150 times. So, I used to come through Niagara Falls for that. So I've stayed here many times before moving here eventually, 5.5 years ago or so. Scratching the Wind, good to see you here. Pallets, Pouts, Perfumes, and Panning. This is VSNC09, Scratch and Pete, of course, a dear friend, and all of the moderators here have their own channels, so I hope everybody will check them all out as well. Thank you, Bearded Eagle. And Institutionalized 88, good to see you here. Ice on the river, yeah, you can see, let me pan down a little bit, you can see some of the ice and other stuff. I can't tell what's what, but you can see at least leading out from the falls over there, the American Falls. I'll get a slight bit closer in a bit. You can see some ice there, and I'm sure it falls over the waterfalls constantly. But it's interesting to see this because for as long as winter lasts, we really never know what to expect in advance when it comes to snow and things like that. So it's a really unique opportunity to get to look at the city in this way. Now, I've been out here streaming like many times, obviously, but you know, the leaves are off the trees and stuff, and we have so many different things to show because obviously the different seasons mean different looks for the entire city and Niagara Falls themselves. There is another restaurant over there and gift shops and things like that. That was the first time I had a $7 hot dog. I don't know if I'll ever stop whining about that. Frank McMahon, good to see you in the house. Thank you for coming in. And forgive me for anything I'm missing in the chat. I certainly do appreciate every moment that everybody is here, though. We're looking at the Rainbow Bridge. So this is where I have crossed more often than any other. Kristen knows a lot more about Niagara Falls than me. I'm still learning a lot. I've got a lot left to learn, of course. But apparently that lookout tower that you see on the American side is so that they can get a good look at the falls as well. Because being in Canada, we're the lucky ones to have this beautiful view of both the American Falls that we're looking at and the Horseshoe Falls that were behind us there. So that apparently used to be the original bridge before it was rebuilt, and they left that piece so that they could have it for a lookout tower, if I understand the story. Thank you, Northeast Lincolnshire. Yes, if anybody does have the ability to share this out, whether it's here on YouTube on a community tab or any other social network, I'll appreciate that. It helps get more people in here today, and could see this video and stream pushed out a little bit farther in the coming days and weeks ahead. So you can see how nice this looks. You know, the sun is gonna set soon. The only trouble we have here is that it's on the opposite side. So the sun falls behind the buildings and things before we really lose a lot of light. But in a few hours, this Niagara Falls here, especially the American Falls and the Horseshoe Falls behind us, are gonna just look beautiful because they do these incredible light shows now. They give you lots of opportunity for lookout here, as you can see in the railings and things. They have all these different areas. I often set my gimbal up on one of these concrete pillars or whatever you want to call them to have a look. We're heading towards the zip line. So I don't know when they opened that up, but I was lucky enough to do that. Can't remember for the life of me. I think it's 2 summers ago now that we did zip line. And they won't allow you to hold your phone or anything like that. But I had a GoPro on, so I did a live stream that day. And for about 3, 4, 5 minutes, it went completely dark because they made me put my phone in a backpack that they give you. But I did have a GoPro on, so I was able to capture that and make a separate video, so you get a real look at what it's like to go down that zip line that goes down to the falls, and I'll show that to you in a bit. But they've got these other lookout things here too. Those are $2. Here in Canada we have $1 and $2 coin. I don't have any on me right now, but you can use those for obviously a lot of different things. Real News Headquarters, thank you for coming in. And forgive me for anybody that I've missed. It is some cold, my dear goodness. Nothing like it was in Ottawa. I don't know why I'm complaining about it so much, but Real News Headquarters, thank you so much for that super chat. I really do appreciate that extra support. Loonies and Toonies, yes. Bearded Eagle, that's what we call them. The reason why is because on the $1 coin, one side of it has a picture of a loon. And that's like, somewhat of a famously Canadian bird. And the loon call, the sound that they make is, at least I associate it very much with Canada. I'm sure a lot of people do. We have them on a lot of our lakes. And so the $1 coin was dubbed the Loonie. Not sure by who or when that happened, but it was many decades ago. And then when they came out with the $2 coin, I think they just called it a toonie to match the name. So yeah, the New York side of the falls, I still have to go over there and really have a look at what they have over there, because it's very different than what we do here. So I can show you something now. This is the American Falls, and the side, you can't really tell the separation here, but the rightmost part of the falls is its own little sliver of waterfall called the Bridal Veil Falls. And right beside that, as I pan over a little bit, you can see this lookout area that they have. There's all railings and structure and all that stuff. Now, I've never been over there to see that, or to the lookout tower on the left here that I was talking about earlier. But hopefully we'll get that done. A lot of people will be familiar with the Hornblower and Made of the Mist cruises. The Hornblower is the Canadian side that does the same thing as the Made of the Mist that's so famous in the United States. And those are, the boats are all docked right now, having their maintenance and repairs and everything else. Of course, when it becomes safe, those boats get really close to the falls. They travel right down the center of the river. They take turns and they get right up to the Horseshoe Falls there. Yes, thank you, Real News Headquarters. Derek's Journey, good to see you here. I was hoping to get some activity yesterday in Toronto, but something came up at the last second and I had to divert myself and didn't quite make it. But I thought I'd come out today because it's already been a week since I've been on, or longer. But this is our last chance to see Niagara Falls the way it is now before the restrictions are lifted on Tuesday. And there should be more people down here because everybody then can go to restaurants and things. It's interesting what they're doing because the provincial rules for whether you have to prove your vaccination status and use a special app that they have here. businesses apparently still have the option to require that if they want to, but my guess is that most wouldn't. So we'll have to see. But my guess is that a lot more people will be here now, because everything will almost be open to everybody. Mark Binsett, good to see you here. Actually met up with Mark here last year. We went to Niagara on the Lake. He was here with his family. Thank you for coming in. It'll be good to see you again in the summer. Pat Kane, thank you so much for another super chat. I really do appreciate that. Yes, Ron P. in Tonawanda. I spent a lot of time in Buffalo when I was coming back and forth from the States for many years. I used to remember like all the different areas like Amherst, Tonawanda, the Skajackwada Expressway, and things like this. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it from here. Likely not at all. But in the center of the Rainbow Bridge that I'm pointed at, you can see a Canadian and American flag. And that is, I guess, to represent the exact point where you cross from one country into the other. Now, it's not until, for me, I actually cross the border and get to the first, I don't know, interstate or at least gas station or place where there's a lot of businesses, business park or shopping centers and things like that. But I start to get this feeling, you know, you're in the States, even though we have so much similar between Canada and the US. Some of it has to do with the different branding that they do down there for some of the businesses that are similar. And some of it, of course, is because there's different places. There's different restaurants. We don't have Mighty Taco, and we don't have, I don't remember if they have Hardee's this far north and Bob Evans and things like this. But thank you everybody for hanging out. I'm just taking a few steps and then pausing for a minute here, and I'll continue that on, but I'll keep going. Divinus King, good to see you here. Thank you for coming in. Oh, is that just something trying to get the channel shut down or whatever? They did talk about the idea. Even when I was in high school, one of our teachers had mentioned the idea that there would eventually be a $5 coin. And whether or not that's going to come to fruition, I'm still not particularly familiar with as an idea, but I imagine eventually. That was one lesson that gave me a chill. So not that I remember very much about high school and grade school and things like that, but one lesson that I remember learning was that the loonie was going to start being made, the toonie was going to start being made, and eventually there would be a $5 coin, but pennies were not going to be made anymore. And the chill that I got was from understanding right away that nothing is ever going to be that inexpensive again, because inflation is going to catch up. So all the things we used to buy for, let's say, 2 cents or 3 cents or 4 cents, just not happening anymore. And, things have really caught up. You can imagine we head to a variety store or a gas station now, 7-Eleven, and it costs almost $3 in a lot of places for a simple bottle of soda or chocolate bars and things like that, candy bars. The big white cloud is mist. Divinus King. It's interesting, right? So because the water falls over so forcefully, there's mist. And it flies into the air, and you can tell how windy it is by the direction of the mist. But when the wind is bad and it starts to come all the way over here, it literally feels like it's raining. So the Horseshoe Falls is a lot more prominent, you can see, right? Because the Horseshoe Falls literally is in the shape of a horseshoe. So all that water is kind of being forced together. But over here on the American Falls, you just faintly see that mist. So that's going to look a lot different in a few hours when they put the lights on and the sun is gone. Yeah, that's the, so Niagara Falls comprises 2 big waterfalls. There's other areas around here too that have interesting things to see. There's a jet boat tour. I shouldn't say tour, it's a jet boat ride. And you go on this boat, I don't know if it holds 50 people or 100 people or what it is. I did it once. And it whips you around in between all these, you know, like what look like mountains and stuff like this. And the water is just crazy. You wouldn't want to get caught up in that. But it's interesting to see. Oh, I see, Ron P. You were shuttling people? Oh, forgive me, Divinus King. So I'll get back over to where we can see the falls again. So it's just where you see the waterfalls, right? The set of waterfalls on the left is the American Falls, and the set of waterfalls on the right is the Horseshoe Falls that some people might call the Canadian Falls. I'll get back over there literally in a second from now. The American Falls has a small piece on the side. You can't really see the separation because of the snow and the ice right now. It's called the Bridal Veil Falls. So there's the American Falls there. And then, because these are called Niagara Falls, the 2 cities, both on the American side and Canadian side, which of course are separate, are also called Niagara Falls. And the right-hand side is the Horseshoe Falls off in the distance there. That's what we might call the Canadian Falls. You get more of an idea of the skyline from here as well. Oh, a licensed tour guide. Interesting, Ron P. I've almost thought at times I should take, like, you know, I don't know if there's such thing as a tour guide course or something like that, but I could certainly be better versed in everything there is around here so that I could do a better job when I'm out streaming and making videos talking about different things. This is where we see the Hornblower cruises. That's one of the 2 of the boats there. I don't know how many they have, but I'm guessing more than 3. I believe I've seen at least 3 out at a time. And those are either just parked or getting their maintenance done. Yeah, you can literally hear the water. And that's just from one of them now. So I know it's a little bit windy, forgive me for that. I don't know how that's affecting our sound today. And then here, so I walked right by it. I meant to do a better job of talking about this. We'll come back this way anyway later, but this is the zip line, right? So how well you can see the wires or cables, I'm not sure, but we did that zip line, and it goes down to, you might be able to see the platform down there. You can imagine the gorgeous look. It's not the fastest zip line. I've only been on 2. I went on one in a place called Blue Mountain, which is another touristy area with a lot of summer and winter activities. That one was super fast, or seemed like it. This one's a little more casual. I think it takes about 45 seconds to get down, but I did a GoPro video so you can see in real time exactly what that looks like. Oh, one of these days, Jaden, I've got a Stream Deck Mini. I've got a desk full of stuff that I need to unbox, and eventually I'll get to these things. I did the unboxing of the iPhone 12 mini here. I just have to go back, reset the phone, and do the setup part of it, and then I'll put that video out at some point as well. So where I'm going to take you now is up to a street called Clifton Hill, and this is really what people would consider the touristy area, where all the shops and stores and restaurants and things are. There's tons and tons and tons of stuff to do. Now, these restrictions that I've talked about have been in place for quite some time, for what I think we're on the 3rd round of it now. They're about to be lifted on Tuesday. my hope is that that means there'll be more people here again, more to see and more eventually to do. Yeah, I'm not sure how, Kristen will know how long the zip line's been here. I'm unsure. Might try to do that again. There's a lot of history in this town, a lot I've got to learn, but there is a lot of these areas where people can kind of sit and relax. And right here is where we often see our friend Gypsy Luciano. I've run into him many times, and he is out busking on the street side here. We'll likely run into him again. He's got his own channel if you want to look that up. Gypsy Luciano. Tourist trap, yes, for sure. Oh, there's a million things to do here. They do give you a couple of deals. So there are fun passes, or I'll find out the real name of it when we get up there, where you can pay like $30 Canadian, and then they give you 5 activities or something like that. 3 or 4 activities plus the sky wheel, which we'll look at. When we head down the street, there's more to do down there. Maybe we'll look later, but there's a Hershey store, which I've spent way too much time in. And then there's Hard Rock Cafe is over there. A few other places, of course. And lots of gift shops everywhere. You'd expect to see that here. The Stock Explorer, thanks for coming in. Wax Museum is cool. And Ron P, you know what was really interesting is when I had contacted them, because I try to be thoughtful when I'm going to stream and this and that. Not every place wants you to just come in and show everybody everything. So I had called first and said, hey, I want to come down there and stream. Can you let me talk to somebody who's going to let me know what I can and can't do, what will make everybody happy? So they offered to have I think it was the marketing director for a lot of their properties, come and meet me and did the video with me and took us on our tour through the Wax Museum, which I thought was really, really awesome of them. So it made for a much better video than I could have done myself, and it allowed me to show the things they wanted to show and skip over some of the stuff that leaves you with a, hey, you have to be there to get the whole experience kind of an idea. Thank you, Jaden. There's a lot to do here, but it is some steep hill as well. So because I'm not as young as I once was, I'll take my time. Hopefully you won't have to listen to me wheeze and huff and puff and pant my whole way around. So this is what Ron P's talking about. There's a game there. But this is the Wax Museum of the Stars. And this is where we got a chance to come and take a tour. A guided tour. There's your friend the Joker as well. Give you an idea of all there is to do around here. We'll walk around the whole area. Which restrictions are going away. So forgive me because I'm not an authority, but my understanding is that there's capacity limits for everything being lifted. Particularly, you will not, in most cases, have to prove vaccination status anymore to go to movie theaters or restaurants or gyms and things like that. I think the businesses still have the option to keep them in play if they want to, but a lot of the things we haven't been able to see, we'll be able to show. And then because I expect more people to be down here, then more of the businesses that have chosen to stay closed will be open. So it's interesting. Like I said, I think we're on round 3 of this now. So this is an arcade. I'll see if I can get a look inside. Give you an idea of what's going on in here. Hi, I'm on YouTube. It's okay, I'm just showing. Yeah? Pardon me, I'm on YouTube. I just wanted to show quickly. Okay. Oh, look, yeah, thank you. So you can see it's a pretty wild time in here. Arcades are a lot different now than when I used to spend way too much time in them many decades ago. There's a ton of stuff that I haven't done here. I think more is open than I expected today, actually. 3D interactive dark ride. And then these guys are making fudge right here. They make it right on this table, and we've been here to film that many times. But it's really cool to see how that is done. And this candy shop has all kinds of incredible things, as you can imagine. And we've walked out of there with handfuls of fudge and different treats many times. Cliff Hefner, good to see you in the house. Tara G, thank you for being here. Penny pushers, I'm not sure of. I don't think I've heard of anything by that name other than the term itself. Lots to eat. You're not going to go hungry over here. There's the Harley Davidson store downstairs. Not sure if they're open yet, but we'll take a look anyway when we get over there later. So you see what I mean? Some of the stuff is closed, right? But you're not going to go hungry. There's all kinds of stuff to eat. Some big names, you know, Boston Pizza's here. We saw Wendy's over there. And then a lot of independents, right? There's at least 2 bowling alleys in Niagara Falls. There's one way out in town, or on the outskirts of town, and then there's this one right here, of course. And there's the Sky Wheel. So I did a stream where we actually went on the Sky Wheel as well, but we see that all the time. I'll get to the booth over here if it's, I don't know if they've got their prices posted. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so you see what is happening here. You've got a $30 pass that gives you 6 things to do, and a pile of midway tickets for that arcade we looked at, and then the Sky Wheel's included. We've done that. We still have passes we didn't use for one of the golf courses. You get your choice too, whether to go to this dinosaur adventure golf that we're gonna walk by here, or a I forget if it's called Wizard. We'll see in a second. It's right around the corner. And you're gonna see one of the coolest go-kart tracks you've ever seen. They call it the Mario Kart inspired Niagara Speedway. So I'll bring you over there in a second. So outdoor golf, of course, is off limits right now. Been in Canada Trading Company gift shop there once. Of course, they got tons and tons and tons of stuff in there. You see what I mean? So there's like these capacity limits everywhere. And my understanding is a lot of that is going to be increased now, starting Tuesday. Wizards Golf, yes, there it is. So there's an indoor mini golf that we have the option of trying if we want. Just left over from our fun pass. So I'm just going to show you a little look at the Skyline Tower and the hotels from the other side. We literally have walked like all the way around here now. And you see the elevator going down the Skyline Tower. They've got restaurants up there, and you can sit and have dinner, and it takes about 90 minutes to do a full spin. You get to see the whole city of Niagara Falls plus the falls themselves. So you see what I mean? All this stuff has been closed. Now that might just be because it's winter. I'm not sure still whether they keep all this closed anyway. But hopefully next week we'll see more open. Big construction projects. There's always construction happening. So I actually just drove by where I think a new hotel or motel is being built way on the other side of Niagara Falls. If you go the opposite direction you would expect everybody to go, then you end up heading into a little town called Chippewa, just outside of Niagara Falls. And there's a hotel being built there. That's the closer entrance to where we park. So I head down there for these streams. And this is what I was talking about, the Niagara Speedway. Kristen and I haven't been on it yet, but I've been down here to show it many, many times. Yeah, I don't know when they open this. I don't know what the parameters are, if they do it just like seasonally or if it has to do with temperature and stuff. But considering we're now at the end of February, can't be that long. So this street as well just goes on and on and on with hotels and motels and restaurants and gift shops and other things to do. And like I said, some of it is big name franchises, some of it is independents. But I wanted to come and see this because this is the last chance we get before the restrictions are lifted. Like I said, I can't remember if we're on like round 3 of this or if it's just 2 and I'm complaining or whatever, but hopefully we don't have to get back into this stuff where everybody can't do everything and all that. So maybe starting next week there'll be more people out here. But I've done lots and lots of streams down here as well. So if you wanted to go and look at those, you'll see Niagara Falls in every different season, day and night. This is an interesting place here. Kelsey's is a big franchise, but because they've got these windows and doors the way that they have on the sides, they were able to stay open even when the extreme restrictions came in. So we've got, video of that too in the streams where we've seen people still inside even when people couldn't be inside. So very creative of them to be able to get around that.
Hello. And we could just get one pepperoni pizza.
And you can see that this continues on. Restaurants and shops and all kinds of stuff. I'm going to show you something across the street here in a minute. Yeah, that go-kart track is certainly something else. And it's so funny too because you look at how long it takes for construction projects to get built. That thing seemed to get itself together within months, not years. It's interesting when there's profit on the line, right? Things change around here a lot. I'm sure a lot has already changed. A lot will continue to change this year between the different shops and the different things. They got a place over here where you can take these really old photographs. If you see my other videos, or especially Kristen's, you see in the background a photo that we had taken. It's like an antique photo place, and they give you outfits to wear and props to use and all this stuff, and that was really fun. It's still there. I couldn't get the story straight whether that place had a fire or the place next door had a fire. but the sign is still over there right now, so they might still be operating. And then again, you know, some of these businesses have chosen to close. Some of it has to do with the fact that this is all seasonal. They don't get enough traffic in the winter to justify staying open, but some of it has to do with restrictions too. Justin Mello, good to see you here. Yeah, we're just jaywalking now. And making sure we have video evidence of it too. I said I wanted to show you something on the other side of the street. We'll walk just past this Ripley's building here. Ripley's owns half the block now. And this is just one area of Niagara Falls. There's a lot more, you know, some of the major streets just go on and on and on with restaurants and gift shops and things to do. So there it is, Always Antique Photo is where we went and got that place. And I'm guessing that it's the place next door that had the fire, because that's closed now. But Kristen knows the story better than I do. So check this out, the upside down house. I still haven't gone in there, but that's another tourist attraction. You know that has to be interesting. And then there's a water park off in the distance there. But I'll head back over here into the Clifton Hill area. Simply Shine LV, thank you for hanging out from Toronto. Forgive me for anybody I've missed in the chat. Thank you everybody for hanging out. Thank you for those thumbs up. Those really do help. And if you do have the ability to share this out in a Facebook group or a subreddit or on Twitter or any of those other social networks, I'll appreciate that as well. See what I'm talking about. There's another Ripley's over there. They've got all kinds of property around here. I forget if it's that, if you guys will remember better than me. I think that building, that Ripley's building, was a nightclub called Rumors. I think I went in there one time, but I vaguely remember. It was there for forever. And here's beaver tails. So at some point we'll get one of these too. I'll show you what this is. But it's a interesting kind of dessert-like treat. Let's see if I can find a picture of one here. That's not a good one, but it's a so it's just a pastry with toppings of different kinds. And they call it a beaver tail, right? And all this stuff, like I keep saying, is mixed in with the other franchises and other restaurants and things.
Just a word of advice. Come inside the house of Frankenstein, but be cautious of the things you see out of the corner of your eye.
On this street, there's the upside down house again from another side. And they got a few more things there. That comedy club used to be a small, very, very small nightclub. That got taken over a while ago. The aquarium, I think, is in Toronto, right? You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't been there either. But I think we have Ripley's Aquarium in Toronto. So here's another combo pass. On the other side of the street, we saw one called the Fun Pass for $30. You get a bunch of different attractions. And here you get, looks like 6 things, right? For $19.99. This is all Canadian dollars, of course. It's almost like every other place here is a franchise, every other one is a independent. Teddy Ruxpin, no, I now live close to Niagara Falls, where we are, about 15 minutes away, maybe 20. And then I was born, raised, grew up, and continue to work in Toronto. I may or may not be trying. Thank you for coming in. Oh, besides CN Tower. I see. Yeah, I haven't been over there in a while. I intend on doing some Toronto outdoor streams as well in the coming month, so we'll get over there when we can. So Harley Davidson store is closed right now, but I'll show you because I know a lot of people will like to see. Now it's interesting, they've got this motorcycle right here in the front, and under normal circumstances they let you sit on that and take all kinds of selfies and everything else. And I don't know whether that will be open starting on Tuesday again or not. For a while there they had please don't touch the bike or sit on the bike and stuff like that. But they've got, it's impossible to see now, but they've got everything Harley Davidson in there. Hats, shirts, jackets, all kinds of stuff. There's the another look at that sky wheel. Get an idea of what that's going to look like when it gets darker. Oh, St. Catharines retired from Casino Niagara. Interesting. Yeah, it's weird, the Stock Explorer, to see Niagara Falls so empty. It's never, in all my years like that I can remember ever being here, this slow. But that's part of the restrictions and everything else, right? So we'll see. I don't know whether I'm going to be right that more people will start coming as early as next week. But when the weather really picks up in April, that's when we start to really see an influx. And it just gets like overloaded crowded here at times. We'll see that too. That sky wheel, I think it just is white all the time. I think the lights don't change color on that I can remember ever seeing. The falls do. The falls are going to be like multicolored, and they actually make those certain colors based on different holidays or different days of awareness. So for instance, Kristen came down here and did a live stream last year on Purple Day, which is March 26th. And that is a day recognizing epilepsy and bringing awareness to epilepsy. And it's something that's done worldwide. So a lot of landmarks will color their things purple that day, as they do for a lot of different causes and things throughout the world in different colors. But that's something that they do. So on Purple Day, they'll make the falls purple for 15 straight minutes, and then they'll go back to their regular light show. But it gives you a chance to at least see it. I'm walking way faster than I intended today. I haven't even been on for an hour yet. We're already back at the falls. But just take another round if everybody wants. Maybe I'll walk down the street. I'll walk down the street here and show you like the Hard Walk Cafe and the Hershey store and this. Of course, there's gift shops everywhere. And an unreasonable amount of socks, as a matter of fact. Oh, Donald Stevens, I was in Etobicoke. I moved around a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to go back to the falls in another second or another few minutes, and we'll be able to see the mist and the water and everything again. Towels Games, good to see you here, by the way. There's towels in there too. I bought a tea towel in the other gift shop that I showed earlier. there's Hard Rock Cafe. I can't imagine there's going to be much to see over here because, you know, like I said, we're in the slow time and everybody's just going to be concentrated in the couple of areas we've looked at. So the Hershey store is over there. They got, much like the socks we just saw, they've got an unreasonable amount of chocolate, and I've spent way too much time in that store. And here's our duty free and where you head into the bridge. I don't know how close I could get without stressing everybody out over there. I'll cross the street for a second, then we'll go back over to the falls. Oh, actually, I can walk right through here. I haven't done that before, so we'll do this. I forget what time the sunset was going to be. I thought it was 5:30, but maybe I was mistaken. Maybe it's 6:30 and I came on an hour earlier than I meant to. There's the US border. Of course, I don't see any convoy activity here today. I wasn't expecting any, but I don't see any. Occasionally you'll see a car drive by with Canadian flags on it. That's seems to be the symbol. And this is the Rainbow Bridge. Where we cross into Niagara Falls, US. Safely jaywalk my way across the other streets here and get back over to the falls in a second. It's a nice enough view, but you can see what I mean. The sun's going to fall behind the buildings and things before we get a chance to see everything in the dark, so just the direction we're facing. Ernest Connell, thank you for coming back in, and thank you for another super chat. I really do appreciate that. Oh, here they come. They're coming to get me because I jaywalked. Did they miss me? So it's quite a view, right? Like I said, I wanted to get out here now because this is the last chance to see this before the restrictions get lifted on Tuesday. Hopefully there'll be more people. But also, this is a unique opportunity to look at the falls so covered in snow and ice. Some of that has been here for a month and a half or longer. Can I cross on foot? Can I cross this on foot? No, there's a current here, and you couldn't pay me any amount of money to swim in that. I don't know if it's ever possible. I imagine not here, just because the water flows so continuously. But that's a guess. Yes, PA, the legend. Succaroni Tube. Good to see you here. Thank you. Forgive me if I've missed anybody in the chat. I don't mean to, but you're making me laugh here. That's an interesting name. There you go. Yes, the Maid of the Mist is iconic. For those of you who are fans of The Office, you can see a couple of snow-covered Maid of the Mist boats over there. They're green. You can barely make them out under the left side of the bridge there. They're obviously docked, and my imagination tells me they're getting their maintenance and repair done, and they'll be back out soon enough. I still have yet to be on one of those. On Canada's side, we call it the horn blower. Same thing. So we'll get out there when we can. And you know, for anybody that's ever looked at much to do with Niagara Falls or been here, it's got to be still chilling to look at the fact that there's so few people here, because it's just never been like this before everything we've been through in the last couple of years. If we were to walk down this area, which is gated off right now, you'll find more gift shops and a restaurant down there. We've been in there, and it's interesting because if you imagine on the left hand side here where the railings and lookout devices are, we get a beautiful look at the falls. You can literally sit there in that restaurant or outdoors and eat your lunch or dinner and enjoy that view as well. And so I think these things are still $2. I'm just gonna park myself for a quick moment here. So the American Falls is on the left, the Horseshoe Falls, or what you might call the Canadian Falls, on the right, of course. And it really is a unique look when they're snow and ice covered like this. TWT TV, good to see you here. Jerica Johnson, yep. It's possible. Pure, it's possible. We'll see. Yeah, Made of the Mist in spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen The Office in the last 10 years. It's been, they used that for one of the scenes. Oh, it does freeze in the top, says KVM. Interesting. Wow. Oh, there's no, no, there's no blockage there, Divinus. We have, the falls always look the way that they do now, with the exception, because the snow and ice is there, it's tough to get the separation out of some of the areas. Way over on the right-hand side of the American Falls, which is almost in the center of the screen right now, is the Bridal Veil Falls, and it's its own little piece that hangs off the side, but the rest is considered the American Falls, and for what my memory serves me, it looks just about like it always does. But I've been lucky enough to do a lot of streaming down here as well, in all different seasons and all times of the day and things like that. Why is it called Rainbow? Divinus King, I'm not sure. If anybody wants to offer an answer to that, I have to tell you, I still got a lot to learn. Cub Fillers Inc., good to see you in the house. Barry the Boss. I've got the Osmo 4 from DJI. As a matter of fact, I haven't upgraded to a 5 because I love the 4 so much. Even though I'm sure the 5 has, is even better if you want to call it that. Oh, that would be nice. Yeah, Truth Seeker. It's a little bit far now. So the Peace Bridge is the one in Buffalo, and Fort Erie is the Canadian city that goes across. This is the Rainbow Bridge here. I wonder if I can. Probably can walk over there without stressing everybody out and getting arrested and things like that. There's only one way to find out. Oh yes, Kevin M, thank you for coming in. Yeah, Jeff and I work together full time. He's got a few channels. I do as well. Yeah, snakes and doggies. I'm not gonna end up there. But it lives on. I remember being a child and hearing television commercials for that place, and it's still there today. Forgive me for anything I'm missing in the chat. I just scrolled back there for a minute just to see if I could catch up with a few things. A lot of rainbows, yes, Ron P. Lots. Actually, when I started the stream, there may still have been the hint of a rainbow right at the beginning. Madam Soulfood, good to see you here. building looking things on the ground. There's a, I don't know if this is what you mean here. This is where the Hornblower, which is the Canadian boats that are similar to the Maid of the Mist, get their repairs and things that need to be done to their maintenance. And this and that. If that's and that's right in front of the Zipline platform. Yes, thank you, Jerica Johnson. So let me get my gloves on and we'll start walking again. You can see how nice this is starting to look because the sun has just about had it for today. But we picked a good day for this, that's for sure. It was snowing earlier. Robbie, can I zoom in? Oh, wind is killing the audio. Sorry, Ron. Yeah, it's just a little windy today. At some point, maybe I'll get a microphone that I can use that's got one of those wind socks or wind guards or something like that. Let me see if I can zoom in without wrecking everything we're doing here. Not sure if it's very possible. Kind of. Not really, eh? Oh, I can zoom but not pan. Let me see if I can do any better. Pardon my shakiness while we look at this. So there's the American Falls. And if you see what I mean, on the right-hand side there is that piece called the Bridal Veil Falls. We'll try to slowly pan over to the Horseshoe Falls from here. There's what you might call the Canadian Falls. The Horseshoe Falls is over there. Start of the skyline. It's hard to see right now, but on the right-hand side at the top of the hill there where the falls are is the Table Rock restaurant and tourist area. Yeah, thank you, TWT-TV. Yeah, Robbie, it's something I don't think about enough is zooming in, but let's have a look while we've got this like this. I'll put the camera back in a second. Part of my shaky gimbal movements, no matter how long I've had this gimbal, I just haven't become great with it yet. So there's the Skyline Tower and a lot of the hotels here. You can imagine the views you have in some of those hotels, right? Oh. Pardon me while I whip this gimbal around all over the place. Get you back to the falls. I'm going to put my gloves on and take a quick drink, and then I will. It does. Yeah, I wonder how many people remember and how many years ago it was. There was a horrible ice and snowstorm, and Buffalo was out without power for like 3 days. And many friends over there. And what had happened is the ice weighs so much on the tree branches when they're like this. And the trees in Canada can handle it, but the trees just like literally over there that we're looking at in the United States can't handle it quite as much. And a lot of the trees fell into power lines and things, and it was a disaster for a while there, for at least a few days. I remember that very well. Thank you, Divinus King. I'm going to get walking in a second here. I was chilling for a moment. -1. I figured it might be somewhere around there. Yeah, Ernest Connell, there's a couple things in the States. I still got to get over there. I mean, we'll see how the restrictions go, especially with the federal stuff going across the border and everything else. But hopefully everything will open up by the time the good weather season comes, and maybe I can get over there and give us a look from the American side. I've got a lot of American friends now that I'd love to visit that are within driving distance, let's just say. So let's get walking. Walk back the other way, and then we'll see what everybody wants to do. If you want to go back up to Clifton Hill after things get dark, if we can. Thank you, Madam Soul Food. You'll be there March 20th. Now in North Carolina. Interesting. Yeah, this is wonderful in the summer. The Stock Explorer, you can imagine. So like Kristen works downtown. Downtown Niagara Falls is not where we've been. I did one stream down there, but it's a completely separate area, actually in the north end of the city. But where she had worked for a long period of time, she did a driving video to kind of show you the drive. Can you imagine? This is where you drive to go to work every day, is right across the, or right along the Niagara Falls. It's just a beautiful place to drive, walk, or whatever, right? And there's lots of park area around here. We haven't had fireworks in years, but they always have fireworks here, and those Christmas displays. So if you see this little structure that I'll try to put it in the center of the screen. So that, it looks like a bunch of wires. That is a Christmas light, part of their big display. And there's another one right about there. And they really do a great job with that. I didn't get out to film that this year, but you can see on my channel I filmed it before. They actually added some stuff. I wish I did get out, but I missed it. But that's always beautiful to see. Lots of big cities have those Christmas type displays, but Niagara Falls happens to be an energy provider, so they it's kind of suitable and fitting, if you want to call it that. For today we have to walk around the zipline structure. They've got that all blocked off and everything, but that's where it is. And there's the zip lines right in front of us. Crescent Art Designs, good to see you here from Toronto. Oh, Mark Binsett was here in the summer, and we were talking on one of the live streams in Niagara on the Lake, which is the next city north, about 15 to 20 minutes. And it's a gorgeous town that has a lot of buildings from what I believe is the early 1800s, or at least late 1800s, but they're very much upkept. So there's a lot of boutique shops there, and it's a beautiful city to look at, like a beautiful town. But we were up there, and Mark Binsett had got some fudge from one of the places, and peach is one of the rarer ones. I'm surprised that is still, you haven't consumed that yet. There's the American Falls again, and we're heading towards the Horseshoe Falls. Here's our faux sunset. In the freezer still. Interesting. Oh yes, of course, Ron P. Yes, lots of Niagara Falls has so much gorgeous area, but as well there are banquet halls and restaurants and things like that, and people, lots of these big hotels. So it's a big destination, literally called the honeymoon capital of the world. So you'll see, like Ron P. says, a lot of bridal parties, taking pictures and things like that. A lot of people here would come to Niagara Falls for things like bachelor parties or bachelorette parties or Jack and Jills or whatever we call them these days. But this is a really interesting look, because you see what we're looking at literally right this second is almost nobody out here. And it literally is amazing because there's always an influx of people here at all times. This is, mostly due to the restrictions that come along with the pandemic. So the mayor, I heard the mayor Diodati on the radio the other day, and talking about like in almost a press conference, or at least an interview, talking about needing the federal mandates, if I understood right, lifted, or at least like the problems crossing the border by land, because it's just pummeled the tourist industry, travel industry. And Niagara relies so heavily on that, right? It's been 2 years already. So they're entering the third season. They want to plan accordingly. That's funny, Jerica Johnson. I can't believe anybody could hear that. I'm wearing construction boots actually, but for whatever reason they do actually squeak. I buy a new pair of construction boots probably at the beginning of every season. I buy the cheapest ones. They're about $100 to $120 Canadian, but then I put $20 insoles in them, because when I work outdoors, we literally destroy our boots within a season. I'll have to get some new ones soon, but it seems to me every pair of footwear that I buy squeaks, whether it's on wet floors or what it is. It's like luck. Same with the shopping carts. You know, when I go to the grocery store, I always get a cart, I'm not kidding either, with a messed up wheel that if it's not flopping all over the place, it's at least making noise and having every person in the store look over at you like they're doing something wrong. So I enjoy that. Donald Stevens, no football for me. I played baseball and hockey for many years, up until I was probably 14. I don't know how young I started, but nothing like that. Yeah, the restrictions are certainly getting old. Yeah, Robbie, we have, Toronto is one of the, if not the most multicultural city in the world. It's one of them, right? And so people from all over the world are there anyway. But then when you think about that, there's families that are coming to visit, and this is a huge tourist destination regardless of whether anybody has connections to Niagara, Toronto, or Ontario at all. But literally they have visitors from around the world, of course. So speaking of which, thank you everybody for hanging out here. I'm going to keep this going for as long as everybody wants, or as long as we can. I went to a few different schools. Donald Stevens, I went to TCI and Kipling. And for driver's ed, I went to Richview. Oh, today, Drax of the North, not nearly as many as I did in Ottawa. So I'm not sure. I should look at my thing and see if my step counter is going to tell me. $8,000 steps today. But that's only half of what I expect to do. Yeah, Niagara Falls is extremely popular as a tourist destination. I'm just lucky to live close now. It takes me less than 20 minutes from driveway to parking lot. I'm just parking for a second here. I'll get walking again in a moment. But thanks again, everybody, for hanging out. If you haven't already given a thumbs up, I hope you will. They really do help. I know if you're on a phone, you have to turn the chat off for a second to get that done, but I'll appreciate it greatly. every interaction here, whether it's a thumbs up or a chat message or a comment after the video, and every single second that you watch helps to possibly get this stream pushed out a little bit farther, not just today but in the coming days and maybe even weeks ahead. Oh yeah, absolutely, Jerica. Absolutely, Jerica. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Marsha Baldwin. Yes, West Humber, I see. Yeah, a little bit farther than me. I was in Etobicoke. I grew up closer to, they call it the Elms. I didn't learn that until later in life, but it makes sense because the schools are all named the Elms or Elmley and all this. But I live closer to TCI, close to the 401 in Islington. Can't tell you how many times as a young lad I'd walk from Islington Station all the way up to the 401. The buses used to run only once per hour or once every half hour when I was taking transit all the time as a teenager. And so sometimes we'd say, well, why don't we just start walking, and if the bus comes, we'll take it. And then it would just not make it by the time we walked. That's quite a distance. And I remember 45-minute walks to and from school every day, or something like that. Oh, in Jamestown, Donald Stephen. So not far. Hotshot 8, good to see you in the house. Pamela Thrasher, good to see you in the house. Marsha Baldwin, did you catch that? I don't know how many people caught that. I would love to be more subtle about it, but I just can't. Drax of the North. Yeah, thank you. I am happy with what I was able to get done in Ottawa. You know, I was only able to be there a certain amount of time. But for the time I was there, what did I do? 15, 16 streams? Something like that. And we got a real look at what was going on in Ottawa. That was big stuff. So thank you especially. I know there's a few new people here who've just been with me for a few weeks now, but I really appreciate you hanging out. And I plan to bring a lot more outdoor live streaming. Today, hopefully, will be the most boring of all the streams, because when the restrictions get lifted, we'll have a lot more people down here again. And a lot of the things that we've already seen today that are close, you know it, freedom. A lot of the things that were closed today will hopefully be open. That's one thing that I haven't heard as much, obviously, is the shouts for freedom and Canadian flags everywhere. You see them sporadically as you drive down the highway and this and that. Once in a while, you'll see somebody with a flag standing on a bridge. Oh, and then Ali's Craft Pursuits, yeah. So I'm hoping to hang out here for a while longer if everybody wants to keep this up. I'm just walking back over towards the Canadian Falls or the Horseshoe Falls here, but then I'll turn back around and we'll go back to Clifton Hill. We'll see what that looks like, hopefully after the sun goes down, which has taken longer than I estimated today. And then the Niagara Falls should have the lights on. So we'll get a look at what that looks like again. But you can imagine, like I said, what it'd be like, if you lived anywhere close to here and just wanted to go for a walk or something, why wouldn't you come here to do it? Happy to have the exercise too. After walking around for almost 12 hours a day in Ottawa, I got to try to keep that up. I didn't lose nearly as much weight as I should have. Yes, Viva Frey is a monster channel that was doing a lot of coverage of the convoy and all things freedom. He still continues to do a good job. So I was very lucky to meet a handful of streamers over there. But there's a lot of good work that was done over there. Viva Frey is doing quite well. Oh, thank you, everybody. Yes, to 100 people watching. So here's what I was talking about with the lights. Those are monster LED panels, as you can imagine. They are much bigger than they look right now, but those shine onto the falls, and after the sun goes down we'll get a chance to see that, and they change colors and they do special light shows and stuff. It really is kind of spectacular to see. I mean, the Niagara Falls themselves are spectacular enough. Like somebody's been celebrating. Overall, we find that Niagara Falls is always very clean and upkept. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. I wanted to show this to everybody because this is our last chance to see this, hopefully forever, but at least for a little while with the before the restrictions are lifted in a couple of days, and then we should have more people around. The fences are the same. My guess is they've probably been redone, but similar. They've probably kept a look, but I bet you there's a lot here that's been here the whole time. Corinne's Life, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for that super chat. I really do appreciate that extra support. Dufferin Islands absolutely is nice in the summer and the winter when they do the Christmas display. So I've got a lot of other streams on the channel. I should have thought of putting a playlist in like I did in Ottawa so that you could go back and check those out easily. Forgive my shaky gimbal movements here. Oh, thank you so much, Marcia. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, hopefully everybody enjoys the views. I mean, I just love this, right? And Niagara Falls is just a beautiful place. You don't need me to tell you, I'm just saying. But I'm happy to be able to come out here and do this, you know? I think outdoor live streaming is getting bigger and bigger all the time. But I'm really lucky to just live somewhere where I've got such nice things to be able to show. So the sun, of course, is behind us. There's no such thing as ever getting to see a sunset over the Niagara Falls. It's literally impossible. But this is what we do get to see. The last looks, you can almost see the reflection in the glass on the Casino Seneca Niagara over there. The sun will disappear pretty soon. And this is, yes, looking at Niagara Falls, US. Let me start blocking again in a second. I'm going to show you the sky wheel. It's already starting to look pretty bright. There's clouds and things. I was expecting a little bit of snow, but that didn't happen. Hopefully the wind's a little bit better. It seems to have died off. Forgive my abrupt gimbal movement. So you can see that sky wheel really bright now, but it's still so light. Now we're using a new phone, so this is the iPhone 12 mini that we're filming on. We'll get a hopefully much better view of the things that go on here at night. This area where I am right now is extremely dark. So I know I'm standing right in front of a light post, but there's a lot of this area from here all the way over to the bridge that has no light. And I think that that's so that they can put focus on the falls when the colors are on and things like that. But hopefully this phone is going to do a better job for us than I've had in the past. So I'm going to try to take my time. I was walking so fast. I always walk so fast. And then thank you, Pamela. So I'm also using a DJI Osmo 4 gimbal, which I love so much that I haven't upgraded to the 5. I don't know if I will. Not quite as steady as I wish it would be, but better than most, I think. I do love this gimbal. I've got links, of course, in the description if you want to see that. And of course, as an Amazon affiliate, it's an Amazon affiliate link. Thank you to my moderators for hanging out. Hopefully the moderators enjoy the streams as well. Forgive me, I forgot to unzoom the lens. I wondered why it was so shaky there. Forgive my shaky movements here while I get that back to normal. Every moderator here is a longtime friend of mine, and they all have channels of their own as well, so I hope you'll check them out also. By now. -1 apparently. At some point in the not too distant future, I'll get to Toronto as well and do some streaming from there. While I live in Niagara Falls now, or close to it, the Toronto will always be home. I was born, raised, grew up, and continue to work there. This is the Skylon Tower. I talked about this earlier, but I just love this place. They do a really good job. They've got restaurants up there, and of course, they have a revolving floor. So you can eat dinner and enjoy a look all the way around the falls and the city. It takes about 90 minutes. Kristen and I have been there a couple of times, and they always do a great job. I think it costs about $200 for a reasonable meal there. As you would expect, right? These really touristy places. At some point, perhaps this year, I can show you some other restaurants and things like that as well. We have our favorites here, places we go for birthdays and anniversaries and other celebrations, special occasions and things. I got to get out here and start working on the other networks too, like making some TikTok videos and stuff for Instagram. I'm so focused on YouTube these days that I overlook that a lot of the time. But you can imagine the opportunities there are here. The rotating restaurant, Pamela, you've been there, yes. Pamela, yeah, it's interesting because I was so used to Niagara Falls having so many more people. So it is interesting to see how many people will brave the cold and come out. But, you know, when you think about families and people's work schedules and stuff like that, my imagination tells me that a lot of people get locked into their time for vacation and stuff, right? If you are slotted to be off for 2 weeks right now, then you have to make the most of it. But that's just a guess. There's a lot of people working from home, and it allows a little bit of flexibility, at least in schedules, I imagine. Got some really, really, really nice views here, eh? So if somebody was, Kristen does some photography. She's got some stuff actually on Adobe. But if you are somebody who does a lot of photography, you can find a lot of opportunity here, as you can imagine. A lot of the stuff that I get for thumbnails is from service that I use from a company called Envato, where they have the same kind of stuff, the same things that like Kristen has put on Adobe, this other company has as well. There's lots of it out there, right? Just stock photos and stuff where professional photographers take it. They can take a better picture than I ever will. So a lot of times I just use their stuff, like today. Unless after doing a video or a stream, I can go through and pull out a really great frame. Sometimes I replace a thumbnail afterwards. But again, I just wanted to get a real look at this today because we're looking at two things at the same time. First of all, the restrictions have been so severe for the last long while again on what I'm considering round 3. It's at least round 2, if not 3. Those are going to start to be lifted on Tuesday. But as well, we have fully snow and ice covered Niagara Falls, which is not as common as we might think. Of course, it happens every year, but usually not for long periods of time. And we've got a great day today. There's that wind again. CB Lambert. Oh, I've been barking up that tree for over 2 years already. No answer. So, for those of you who did follow the Ottawa stuff that I was doing, you know that I tend to sit on the fence when it comes to issues, and I don't voice strongly, felt opinions and things like that. But when it comes to these masks and restrictions and stuff like that, what I can tell you is that I do wish that we could all live in a world where everybody could just do whatever they want. Now, I know that that's not reasonable when we start to think about some of the undesirable activities that could go on, and therefore, essentially, I guess we need government, I guess we need police and things like that. But for the most part, if somebody wants to wear a mask outdoors by themselves, then I absolutely believe in their right to do so. I'm not. I always have masks with me because when I'm going to go indoors somewhere, I pick my battles, of course, right? But that's the thing, it's not about, for me, whether people should or shouldn't be doing anything. It's about their right to be able to do whatever they choose, and I don't know how that really sounds, but it would take me well beyond 40 years to explain to anybody why I think the way I do. So I imagine the same for everybody else. And opinions change, people's perspectives change and things like that. One of the most interesting things that I found that I thought was just literally ridiculous here is, so for the longest time, and this is what's about to be lifted, if you do not have proof of vaccination, and not something that can easily be forged, but an app that they have with QR codes and some form of tracking and everything else, then you cannot sit down in a restaurant to eat. You could go in there and you can order for takeout if you're wearing a mask, and then you can take your food out, but you cannot sit down. So when you enter a restaurant, you have your mask on. You have to keep the mask on at all times, except for when you're sitting at your table, probably with other people, most often, right? Then you could take your mask off. You put it on again to go to the washroom, or if you have to do something else. Now that's all debatable whether it's reasonable or not. But the issue is that the people asking you for your vaccination status and serving the food and working in the restaurant don't have to be vaccinated. That is just way beyond my comprehension, how somebody could come up with that. But this is what we're talking about. So that apparently is going to be lifted on Tuesday for the restaurants that want it lifted. So they still have the option of requiring vaccine status and identification and everything else if they want, apparently. So again, I'm not an authority on it, but Oh no, this, as far as I understand, this bridge never moves. There are bridges around this area that lift so that boats can go underneath and this and that. But the only boats that are here are the Hornblower and Made in the Mist boats. There's other blockage that doesn't allow other watercraft to enter, as far as I understand. But there's other places in other towns around Niagara Falls. There's lots of rivers and things like that, and there's lots of bridges where like you pull up and the bridge will lift and you can't go across until the boat passes, and then the bridge comes back down. I'll try to get out and film some of those sometime. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, Robbie. Yeah, there's a good question, Pierre. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, what if you want to say, I don't have a phone, I don't use these kind of cell phones? Then I guess you're out of luck. Sorry, sir, there's nothing we can do. So interesting. Not that I want to get into a rant or anything, but I thought I'd offer a little bit of comedy, if nothing else, because restrictions have been different in different areas. A lot of things make sense to a lot of people, a lot of things don't make sense to a lot of other people, but they're somewhat different in different areas, right? So this is starting to really look interesting now, right? You see what I mean about that sunset? Because it disappears behind the buildings and the hill, it looks a little bit different than what you might expect for a sunset. And then, of course, there's no such thing as a sunset over Niagara Falls because of where we are. But this is as close as it gets. And it still is something to look at. Of course, with zip lines in front of it. When does it get dark? It should be getting dark any time now. Oh, yeah. Social credit scores. I imagine, I didn't think it would happen in my lifetime, to be honest with you, but I think we're entering the era of having, if not chips, then at least digital IDs. They've already voiced the ideas, as far as I understand, where everything will be included. Your credit card, your credit score, every high school mark you've ever had, and everything you've ever done. Not to mention, we're all cataloging everything. The internet is written in ink, so everything you've ever said, every look on your face, every tone of your voice, all cataloged and tracked and everything else. Now, for me, I keep saying this on these streams, but I was fascinated by the internet. We're heading up to Clifton Hill, by the way, so we'll get to some interesting stuff again in a second here. But I've been on the internet from what I consider the beginning, but when AOL and CompuServe were things, and ever since. So everything I've ever done is on the internet. It's too late for me to not be out there with everything, right? So I'm already as cataloged as anybody can get. There's no escape. But I don't blame anybody who has a lot of hesitation about putting things online and stuff. I was into website development and things like that, and always worked in bars and restaurants and nightclubs and things like this. So there's thousands and thousands and thousands of pictures all over the place. I could never take that down, so maybe, yeah. Oh, Bank of Canada promoting the digital ID? Yeah. Thank you. Still got over 80 people watching. Thank you so much. If you haven't already given a thumbs up, I hope that you will. So there's another look at the Niagara Falls. We'll come back down here again. I just want to head back up to Clifton Hill. So we got a good look at everything today. We'll see how long we can keep this going, but we will get a look at Clifton Hill in the beginnings of the night, and then by the time we get back down here to the falls, the light should be on, it should be dark, and we should get a really nice look at what it's like here. I'll try to mix up the streams for everybody as well. For those of you who are new to the channel, I hope you'll stick with me. I do a lot of outdoor live streaming in Niagara Falls. I'll try to get out to Toronto and other places as well. But I'll mix them up so that we have different daytime streams, nighttime streams. I'll try to get some different days of the week so we can really get an idea of what goes on. You can see the lights are starting to have effect. And we're testing a new phone today. This is the iPhone 12 mini that I'm filming on. So we'll see how the low light capabilities, without me changing anything or trying to do anything, work. Should be much better than what I had in Ottawa.
What? Judy, you have a bag? Judy, yes. Judy, are you kidding me? You said that we don't have
Yeah, we're gonna see, John B, that's for sure.
yes, but I have to go to Sebastian's because I left my clothes there.
I'm curious what's gonna happen. I wonder if we might be towards the end of cash earlier than I thought. I found myself almost the whole time in Ottawa not carrying cash around. And that's a little bit weird for me. Not that I have any more money than anybody else, I certainly don't. But when it comes to having literally no cash on you at all, you find that uncomfortable. But I think it's becoming the norm. That's just a guess. So we're gonna have to keep our eyes open for everybody that thinks about cash or having cash or making cash. May or may not be as valuable as we think in the coming years. iPhone 12 mark been set. Digital currency as coming up. I have dipped my toe into that arena. Not happily. I never bought much, but I was up massively until November, but I've just held everything, and so barely any profit. But it's meant to be a buy and hold for me anyway. This is just an area that they have where people can sit. We have a friend, Gypsy Luciano, who has a YouTube channel. He comes out here and performs street side. We've seen that many times. I'm looking forward to running into him again. Thank you, CB Lambert. Oh, there you go. Mark Vincent, night mode. Oh, in BC. Conifer Green, if I'm pronouncing that right. Thank you. Forgive me for anything I'm missing in the chat. It's starting to get a little bit cooler now, or at least windier. I'm going to stick to my side of the street. Get my other glove on here. My son got me some gloves for the second time now that have the ability to swipe the screen. I don't know how easy that is with any pair of gloves, and I don't typically wear gloves very often, but these Ottawa streams in this here, it's a little bit cold to not be doing that. I can tell you this, it looks darker for me than it does for you when I look at the screen here. But that's because of some clouds that are in behind those buildings. Now we're getting a different look at the same area we were at just about an hour ago. Because the lights are all in full effect and they seem a little brighter now, even though they're on all the time. This is Clifton Hill. Really what anybody would consider the tourist area. All kinds of restaurants and shops, things to do and buy and see. Oh, just about dark in Maine now, John B. Yeah, so it should be here any minute.
We are special guest live on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon and musical guest Justin Timberlake.
Your guest is waiting.
We looked at this earlier. This is we looked at everything earlier. This is the Wax Museum, and one of the videos that I did was walking through the wax museum, where they offered, when I called down here, to give me basically a helping hand. And the director of marketing, if I remember his title right, came down, his name's Kaye, and hung out and helped me with the video, which was awesome. So I hope you'll check that out after as well. They change things, I think, every year, so there's different things to see even if you've been there before. Great Canadian Midway. All kinds of interesting games in there. Not sure if they've actually made any fudge today because I don't see anything out, so they may not have, but these are the tables where they make the fudge. We've seen that done many times. You can smell this place from outside. My goodness, what an unbelievable candy store. We've been in there several times and purchased a lot of different things, including fudge. They got candy apples of every kind and things like that as well. Well, it's not dark yet, it's getting dark. Like I said, those clouds are helping out a little bit over there. Whether that's going to turn into anything I need to get away from or not, we'll see. And there's the Niagara Skywheel. I forget again if it's 170 feet high or something like that. Yeah, John B. I love it here. You know, I like the falls. This is entertaining. We've been down here many times. I didn't spend nearly as much time here as, you know, I would recommend to anybody as, let's say, a teenager or a young adult. There's so much to do. There's so much fun here. And, you know, people and stuff like that. Oh, the stream quality is wonderful. Thank you, John B. Yeah, so I'm still using a SIM card from Ottawa. I just got to run that thing out, right? But I'm on a new iPhone 12 mini. This is literally the first time it's been used. So I'm glad that things are looking better than they were in Ottawa and before that. Hopefully it'll hold up for us when things actually get dark. And then again, I'm using that DJI OM4 Gimbal. Here's that store where I bought a tea towel. I'll tell you an embarrassing and almost hilarious story. So there's a guy in another channel, and I didn't even realize that the guy likes to troll, because I guess I hadn't given it enough time yet. So he's hanging out over here and talking about I would like a tea towel, and not saying like, hey Kev, go buy me one, just mentioning that if he was here that would be what he would get. So I literally went into the store, might have been on a separate stream, but bought a tea towel for that person, not realizing. I learned pretty soon after that they, I don't necessarily want to say they are a troll, but they enjoy trolling. And so I ended up just hanging on to the tea towel for many months. I gave it to my mom for Christmas last year. But I can't believe my naivety to do something so silly. But the things we learn in our YouTube journey, right? So, like I said, it looks darker here for me than it does for you. I can see in the screen, but you're getting the idea. The sun's had its time for today. Hopefully the next time we see this, even if it's next week, is going to be a lot more people. And this is the go-kart track, the Niagara Speedway. Apparently a Mario Kart inspired go-kart track. So that'll be open, I guess, when the weather gets better. We'll see. And this is just one area that I'm showing you today. There's a lot more to Niagara Falls. I hope to show you much more in the coming months. But this street just goes on and on and on and on and on. And there's hotels and restaurants and gift shops and all kinds of things to do all over town. A lot of it is condensed here in this Clifton Hill area. Yeah, about that. Succaroni tube, about that. I'll tell you this though, when you think about construction projects and how fast it, you know, some of these things can get done or how long they take and get way overdue, that thing flew up in no time. So it's a big difference when the government's involved in something, and it's a big difference when it's private, which I'm assuming that is. But that got done quick. Getting an idea of how much there is to do here. I'm not even going off into these side streets and things like that to carry on. Just this one Clifton Hill area has got all kinds, right? Between the attractions, the restaurants, the treats and ice cream and hot dogs and everything else that's here, pizza. But in the coming months, you'll also see it a lot busier too. And I'll try to get out to Toronto and maybe some other places. Beware of Bridge Street. So I'm not familiar enough. I'm sure that's an inside joke that I should get, but I'm gonna have to figure out what's up with that. Carolyn, thank you for coming in. Yes, John B, absolutely. So some of the restrictions are going to start to lift on Tuesday, and then people will be able to get a little bit more done. Particularly, more people will be able to go to restaurants than have been able to, and movie theaters and gyms and a lot of other things. So we see some of the attractions here closed because part of it is seasonal, I'm sure. I don't know how much of it has to do with the fact that there's just not enough people out because of the other things we're going through. More open than I might have guessed, I think. I forget if I said the opposite earlier. And Ripley's owns a good chunk of the properties around here, or is renting at least.
Foolish mortals, beware. Behind these walls waits a living nightmare. So horrifying, so macabre, it will make your
goodness.
crawl.
That skywheel looks spectacular, eh? I didn't even realize, in all this time, I didn't even realize how many video games there are in Applebee's and IHOP here. So on the other side of the street, you have that Fun Pass where you get, I think, 6 or 7 attractions, including the Skywheel, for $30. And then over here, you got another pass you can get for $20 that's got even more attractions. So I hope to get out here again and get a lot more filming done in a lot of those places as well. Oh, thank you, Jeremy D-Day. Yes, thank you for anybody that can share this out, whether it's on Twitter or in a Facebook group or subreddit or anything like that. That stuff really does help. The thumbs up really help as well. If you're watching and haven't come into the chat, I hope you will. We've got a lot of familiar faces here. Some friends have been with me for years, and some have just come in within the last couple of weeks. I'm sure we even have a couple of people that are brand new today. So thank you very much for hanging out. I plan to bring you a lot more outdoor live streaming from here in Niagara Falls, and then, like I said, possibly Toronto, maybe some other places as well. It's really a unique area here, right? But you can imagine how much fun anybody could have in multiple days. You know, this is one of the things, almost like our theme park. I'll get out there as soon as it opens in April. But, you know, it can't be done in a day. Almost can't be done in a weekend, right? I bet a lot of people spend long weekends here, or possibly even week-long vacations. It is known as the honeymoon capital of the world. It does seem to be, Suckeroni Tube, yes. I had somebody come into one of the streams last year, and they're like, so some people might look at it and say, wow, it's like a mini Vegas, but saying like, hey, cool, that looks fun. And then some people are like, oh, it's like a mini Vegas, ew. Yeah, all right, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I haven't been to Vegas yet, so it certainly resembles something like that, with all these lights flashing and all the activity that happens here all the time.
I'm sitting here on my swing resting from all the fun I had today. Man, that slanted room really messes with you. And did you see the size of that barrel? Yikes, I'm still spinning. There's so much to do in here.
So hopefully everybody's enjoying the look around. We're going to head back down towards the falls now, and I think it's dark enough that we'll get a look at the lights. Yeah, Ruby Tuesday's interesting there. Kristen and I went there, and I think that it kind of resembled like a Wendy's or a Burger King that had been redone. So I don't think Ruby Tuesdays, I could be mistaken. It's been a long time since I've been in there. But if my memory serves me right, and it's not what it once was, I think that place was like more of a diner or fast food place that was taken over and renamed, as opposed to fully renovated or anything like that. Oh, forgive the wind. I know it's crazy right now. I don't know why. Just head across the street. So for those of you who were with me in Ottawa recently and remember what those streams were looking at or looking like when I was walking through the not so well lit areas, we've got good light here, but hopefully this picture is a lot better. I'm going to compare when I get a chance, maybe later tonight, and have a look, but I'm happy to have been able to up the quality for everybody as well. We're getting a really unique look at Niagara Falls right now. We didn't go to Ruby Tuesdays. I thought there was a restaurant that we went to that looked like it had been, yeah, I'm not going to get caught. I'm not going to get caught in one of those like, that wasn't me. No. Kristen's the only one that I've been with here in Niagara Falls to go to a lot of these restaurants and things like that. So if it's not Ruby Tuesdays, it must have been something else. But I thought it was it TJI Fridays? or something like that. There was one place that I just wasn't happy with. Or maybe we actually didn't like it so much that we didn't even stay and eat there. But I hadn't, before being with Kristen, actually. I hadn't been to Niagara Falls in quite a while before that. Maybe I'm thinking of another place, but I felt like I thought it was Ruby Tuesdays. This happens to me all the time. My memory, like I said, is not what it once was. Milestones is the one place that I whine about all the time. So what Kristen and I have found is that when we go to independent places here in Niagara Falls, like in the city of Niagara Falls, we have a better experience than with some of the franchises. And we went to, now I don't even remember which place it was, the Keg, I think. We went one night, and the music was so loud, we couldn't even hear each other. They have these huge tables that are so large that if you sit across from each other, you're yelling to hear each other. Milestones we went to, and that was the first dinner that we had, and worst meal I've had in any restaurant in my recollection. Not that I want to whine about it, I'm just saying. And a lot of the independent places do a much better job. So here's a beginning look at the falls with the lights somewhat on. They're all white now. I hope they start changing colors soon. Usually things happen within 15 minutes here. So Experience Africans, good to see you here. Yeah, I think so, Kristen. For some reason, I think that, but maybe I'm mistaken. Yeah, John B., it's something else, right? Yeah, my pleasure. I'm still going to walk all the way around. Now you see the light show starting. Pardon me. In 1996, I worked on a cruise ship. Only one time ever for one season for about 4 months. I was supposed to be there for 6 months, but I left after 4. But I went to Bermuda from New York, so I was able to spend quite a bit of time really just in Manhattan, because you can imagine I was only there for a few hours on Saturdays, but I would of course go to the record store. Vinyl Mania is what it was called. The whirlpool, yeah. I didn't get any video. Video really wasn't that big of a thing the last time I went there. A friend of mine was getting married. I was the best man, and the one activity he wanted to make sure we did was go on the whirlpool. So there's some picture of us somewhere. I forget if it's Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and that's got to be 10 years ago or something like that now. Yeah, it's really something else here. So I'm so happy with the camera now, right? This is so much better. I know it wouldn't have looked like this on my older phone, but I think we're really getting a sense of the colors that they put on these falls. So I'm going to keep walking again in a few minutes. I just wanted to stop for a second, grab a quick drink here. Thanks everybody for hanging out, by the way. We still got a long way to go. I'm going to walk at least back over to the Horseshoe Falls on the right-hand side there. I should give you a little look at what the city looks like too here. Oh, the lights don't start until 7:30. Oh, they're on now, but this looks like a bit more of a minor show. They actually have twice as much light on these falls most often. There's obviously something started already. I just want to show you the city. Forgive my, again, shaky gimbal movements. You got to be really precise with this thing to get it to move slowly. Let's see if we can get a nice shot with our Canadian flag in there. Everybody can virtually yell the word freedom while we look at that. The lights under the Skyline Tower are changing too there. Can't remember whether I've noticed that before. When I make it to Toronto for some live streaming, pardon me, I think my voice has had it today, I will get to the CN Tower as well and show you what they do with that. That thing is spectacular also, but I'm really happy. Like, I really love the job they've done with the Skyline Tower. This on the right hand side here, this building, that's the zip line, by the way. So you can imagine they keep the zip line going right into the evening. Actually down, if you look, I'll try to put in the center of the screen for a second. So right there and about the center of the screen, that platform with those lights is where the zip line ends. So you get down there and then they bring you back with a golf cart up the hill. But you can imagine what this would look like going through the zip line at night too, right? Isn't that something else? From Oshawa, free insults. Thank you for coming back in. Lori's Tech Time, good to see you here. Forgive me for anybody I've missed in the chat. Thank you so much for hanging out. I hope everybody will give a thumbs up if you haven't already. We're doing really well. And I intend on bringing you a lot more outdoor live streaming, both from here in Niagara Falls and Toronto, of course, and maybe some other places. We'll see what happens and what happens this year. Second I can get across the border, I intend on doing it. There's I talk about this all the time, but no matter how old I get, I'm not that old, but I'm not that young either. One lesson I still don't learn is that tomorrow doesn't always come. There's always we'll go next month, we'll go next year, we'll go next some other time. And now some other time is here, and it's not as easy to get to a lot of the places as it was before. But as soon as it is, we'll make sure we start taking advantage of that. Kristen and I have spent some time going across to the States for some fun as well. We've spent some anniversary time over there, going to the casino and going to the Olive Garden. So I'll tell you that story again too. We went to the Olive Garden for an anniversary, and they have it in the States but not in Canada anymore. And this is the only place I've ever seen that has 3 Italian dishes on one plate, called the Tour of Italy, right? And for those of you who know the Olive Garden, you might know that they've got 2 now. Like, I think it was chicken parmesan, lasagna, and fettuccine alfredo in one meal, which is just ridiculous, but it's like heaven to me, right? So I wanted to go over there. We went over and we enjoyed our meal, but as we crossed the border agent asked us, where are we going? And I happened to be dressed in just probably a check shirt and a blazer or something like that. Now, it's not a t-shirt, but not anything too formal. But she said, what are you guys doing? So we're going for dinner at the Olive Garden. She goes, I think you're a little overdressed. I was like, all right, well, I haven't been there in a while, so I'll have to see what you're talking about when I get there. But I thought that was comical. Yes, we do need, actually, we did not bad at the casino either. So I'm no kind of a big gambler. Actually, I love going to casinos and visiting them. I've been very lucky to be able to go to many. When I was spending a lot of time in the States, I played poker in a small tournament in Foxwoods in Connecticut. And I don't remember where Mohegan Sun is, but I managed to make it there too. But I can stand in a casino for 4 hours and not play if I don't feel like it. And I never play heavy when I do. Not that that matters, but just saying. But yeah, we, Kristen and I, when we went, I forget how well we did, but I think we did well when we were at Seneca Niagara there. There's that sky wheel again. Now it's looking vibrant. to get an idea in a minute of what I was talking about when I say there's no light around here. We just have to walk all the way around this zipline area right now, probably until either the restrictions are lifted or maybe when the weather gets better. They probably don't want anybody slipping. It's all concrete over there, the ice and everything. I'm just guessing. Look at that, the falls are on fire. Is that ever something else? My goodness. I am so happy with the way that looks. I'm gonna try to get out here and cut some videos too. I'm gonna zoom in on this in a second here. Forgive my shaking around while I plant the gimbal down. I'll zoom in for everybody, so just pardon my abrupt movement here. Isn't that something? Yes, Lay Nate Loki. I haven't eaten in the Flying Saucer restaurant yet. You're the king of Clifton Hill. Interesting. Best part of the casino is the buffet. I'll tell you this, we have a casino in a town called Aurelia, which is, try to guess how far it is from here, I'm not sure. Hour and 10 minutes out of Toronto. But when you're there, they have a casino, and it's Casino Rama, it's called. And it has, I used to go there frequently for the buffet. It's nothing like what I'm sure you're going to find in Vegas and other places like that, but I'm sure it was great. Oh, Terry Morgan on Barker. I'm not familiar with that street. I still have a lot to learn about Niagara, even though I've lived here for many years now, but yes, there you go, Jerica, you and me both. I was telling everybody, like, you know, for the time I spent in Ottawa over the last month, as much as possible streaming and this and that, you would think after walking 12 hours a day somebody would lose, you know, a handful of weight. And I think in the first week I did, because I was so unused to it, if that makes sense. But then back into drinking pop and eating chocolate bars and all that crap, and I think I've just about where I was when I started. So I'm just gonna pan over to the Horseshoe Falls here, but then I'll put the camera back and then we'll go and have a look. Even these light shows seem a little bit different from what I remembered from last year. But again, my memory isn't what it once was. Let's see what we got over there. If anybody hasn't already given a thumbs up, I hope you will. They really do help. And I think I can zoom in just the smallest bit more here, so I'll try. Oh, more than I thought. Oh, goodness, forgive me. I don't have finesse when it comes to operating this gimbal. Jerica, that would be my wish, but I'm not sure. When I was a kid, I played hockey and I never thought much of it. But I remember clearly getting into 9th grade, and that's the first time that you have like gym equipment, right? Benches and weights and things like that. And we didn't use any of that for class. I think we might have looked at it once or whatever. We used to go up into the weight room. I had no idea what I was doing. But because I had played hockey, I'm assuming, and baseball for so many years as a kid, at 14 years old, you walk into a weight room and then all of a sudden sit down on that one. I don't even remember what they call it when you, if it's just a leg press, where you sit and you just push the entire stack of weights forward with your legs. It's for your quads, right? And I could do the whole rack instantly, and everybody kind of stopped what they were doing and looked and said, there's no way he's doing that, because I certainly don't look like, or didn't at the time look like, any kind of a strong guy either. But I think it's just that. I think it's from all that stuff. But it's interesting you say that, because after all that walking, yeah, it's possible. Anything's possible. But I'm hoping that these live streams help out with that as well, actually. My other phone's losing its battery where I read my chat. So I'm going to start walking again. Oh, thank you, Terry Morgan. Yeah, I was happy to be able to be out in Ottawa. I hope I can get out there again soon, and for leisure as opposed to anything else. But I did enjoy my time there. I met a lot of great people, and here on YouTube as well, of course. Oh, thank you, Lori's Tech Time, for the shares. I really do appreciate that. If anybody does have the ability to share, whether it's in a Facebook group or a subreddit or on Twitter or any other social network, I'll appreciate that. Thank you to our moderators as well for hanging out. Hopefully they enjoy the streams. When I used to come out here last year, the year before that, I used to do pretty short streams, typically an hour, maybe an hour and a half or 45 minutes or something like that. I intend to do longer ones now, but hopefully the moderators enjoy the streams as well. What I can tell you is that every moderator here in the channel has a channel of their own. They are all longtime friends of mine. So I hope you'll check them out. These light shows just are crazy vibrant now, right? So I think they're doing their mix of American colors on the American Falls and Canadian colors on the Canadian Falls there. Interesting, right? And they mix up these light shows, and they go on for hours, actually. I wonder if you can see as well. I'm going to try to switch hands here so I can give you a better look. When I'm walking around here, you can see there's no light. They have almost no light in the area at all, and I think that's so that the focus can be on the falls themselves. Tiffany wears t-shirts. Good to see you in the house. Yeah, Jerica, I am unfortunately not the right person to be able to cover any of that. Not right now, but we'll see what happens. Thank you, Michael's Adventures. I think that's really cool that they do that, right? American look on the American Falls, and then the Canadian colors on the Canadian Falls. But they mix these up and flash them like crazy. And like I was saying earlier in the stream today, they also do a few things like to recognize days of awareness. Like, for instance, upcoming is March 26th, which is Purple Day. And that is to build awareness and in recognition, let's say, of epilepsy. And that's something that's done around the world. So the Niagara Falls will likely be lit again for 15 minutes on that day. But they do that for all kinds of different either celebrations or days of recognition and things like that. Late for work. Good to see you here. Thanks for coming in. Oh, thank you. Late for work for coming in from Lori Tech Times page. Thank you for that. Yes. See, sharing really does help. I'll tell you this. A lot of people here in the chat will only know me from this channel, but I actually have a couple of others. One of the channels has a network of over 3,000 YouTubers. Every single person has a channel. And the number one thing that I am thanked for personally on YouTube is for sharing for other people when it's on the community tab, because it's so noticeable and so effective. So we're seeing that right now, so thank you again. Oh, they're doing something else on the 26th, Kristen? So we'll see what else comes up. In the meantime, Falls View Casino is purple right now. These all change color too. I wish I would learn to not walk so fast. There's Niagara Falls, USA. And that building with the LED sign that's so bright is Casino Seneca, Niagara. Now you can see better. On the left side of your screen there is the bridge. You can't see the bridge very well, but underneath it is where the Hornblower boats are. Trying to get above this stuff and give you a look at the falls there. There's that mist again. You can really see that. That looks interesting on the screen. When there's heavy wind, and especially blowing in this direction, that mist comes over and literally feels like rain. Going to park for a quick second here. Oh, I'll give you another look at the American Falls because we're walking the other way now. Yeah, no barrel for me. And thank you again, everybody, for hanging out. I really do appreciate every moment that you're here. If you haven't given a thumbs up, I hope that you will. We're doing great. And I'm going to start walking again in another minute here. I just need a quick second. I'm going to take a drink and all that. Just need another second and then we'll get moving. I'll give you over to the Canadian Falls for a moment here. I never cease to be amazed by these waterfalls. I'm gonna ask if do I know when the casino was built? I don't, JB. Somebody in the chat might know better than I do. We have two here, Casino Niagara and Falls View Casino, and then Seneca Niagara is obviously on the American side, but somebody in the chat might know better than I do. I still have a lot to learn considering I've lived here for a few years now. I should know more so I can do a better job when I do these streams, but I'll try to pick that up. Oh, goodness. Pardon me. I just knocked something. Hopefully, maybe what I should ask is if Scratch and PPA is, he's always there, but if he's still there, maybe I can ask you to look up somebody to raid. I just took a quick look, but I'm hoping somebody from the Tuber Chat crew might be on. I don't think any of our mods are live or going live. If they are, that would be ideal, but if not, just about anybody from the Tuber Chat family would be great. Oh, somebody's got a drone. You see that above the mist? We're going to see more and more of that happening. Whether that's legal or not is questionable. I have to imagine it's not in this area, so close to the border. But boy, the lights on that are crazy. If you can see that. Wow. Oh, yeah, Conifer Green too. It's interesting. A lot of streamers use the camera and seem to be on basically all the time. And I'm the opposite. Most streams I don't even put myself in at all. Give me a quick second here. There we are. Hello everyone. You have to forgive me, I'm bundled up like crazy here and my chins are all looking as vibrant as ever. I'd love to give you a better look here, but I'm struggling to find a good angle. There you go. But yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out. Here we are. Yeah, I tend to always forget that. Oh, lights just went out on the Canadian side for a second there. There's the American ones though. Huh, let's watch and see if those come back on. I'm sure they will in a second. Oh, yeah, GA Girl would be great, Scratch and PPA. And thank you, Kristen. I know Kristen's looking too, but yeah, Georgia Girl is would be a great idea. Thank you. What we'll do is Scratch and PPA will grab a link shortly to another live stream that you can go and visit. It's a friend of ours. Won't be outdoor live streaming lately or anything like that, but it'd be great if anybody wanted to go in and say hello, give her a thumbs up, and just hang out for even 15 minutes or something like that if you're feeling inclined. I love to raid people whenever possible because it's such a benefit when we've already got so many people watching to be able to give somebody an influx of viewers, right? Starting to wonder if those lights are going to come back on. Oh, pardon me while I flip my gimbal all over the place here. Gotta park for a second and switch hands. You should see how Jeff films. For those of you who've seen my friend Jeff with Travel Fun 69 over there, he carries around an 8-inch tablet while he's streaming. So he's got his phone, his tablet at the same time. So thank you. Yeah, late for work. Thank you for that super chat. I really do appreciate that. I'm going to keep going for another few minutes here, but when we get close to the falls, then I'll cut it off. They didn't pay the light bill. Yeah, maybe. But that's my friend Georgia girl, and she will be live streaming. Probably just hanging out more than anything. But if you'd like to, I hope everybody will hop over there. Just mention Kevin K. Raid and say hello. Give her that thumbs up. But she's been a great friend and a great supporter to me, so I'll appreciate that. And then another 5 minutes or so, I'll end this stream. And I'll intend on being back next week. So probably here in Niagara Falls again, and hopefully with more people out as the restrictions will be lifted after Tuesday. I'll give you one more look at the American Falls before we walk too far away. Really is something to look at. Oh, they're on to me. I can't for the life of me imagine what's going on. I'll show you the panels. There's the LED panels. There's some kind of a green indicator light on them, but I'm not doing anything right this second. Maybe the barrel next week, yeah. Late for work, we'll see. In the coming months, I intend on bringing a lot more outdoor live streaming. Mostly here, I'm sure, because I'm close and lucky to be here. But there is so much more to Niagara Falls than the things we've looked at today. So I hope to show you a lot more. But more often than anything, of course, I'll come down here. It's interesting to see all the different four seasons change the entire look of the falls in this whole area, of course. Hopefully you'll stick with me for that. For anybody that's brand new today watching, I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't already. Oh, pardon me for a second. Oh, I'm not sure about all the different signs. Forgive me, I already walked away, but there's one. So, they're not saying don't. They're just saying it's dangerous. Which is interesting. Oh, forgive me, I'm just switching hands one more time here. Get my glove on. And thank you one more time, everybody, for hanging out. I know this is a lot calmer content than what I was doing when we were in Ottawa, but hopefully you've enjoyed the look at this beautiful city of Niagara Falls. There's that drone flying around again. I'm gonna do one more check too and see how many steps we've walked. At last check, we were at 8,000. I was hoping to double it. $12,000. So not quite. Oh, finding happiness in all you do. Thank you for coming in. There you go. Late for work. There's only one way to find out how effective that barrel will be. It's so much nicer to look at when the lights are on. Usually we have this beautiful ending to the stream because we get to stare at it with the lights like this. But I'm happy to be here either way. And this is as close as we can get without the mist starting to rain down on our camera and lens and everything else. So this is the Table Rock area that I was talking about. They got a gift shop in there and a restaurant and things like that. I'll go back to the other falls just because this is where the nicer look is for today. Signs say the big one. I didn't see a big sign. You'll have to forgive me. I walked way past it now. Near Diesel Lily. So thank you everybody for hanging out. I really do appreciate every moment everybody's been here. Scratch and PPA dropped a link. I'm gonna go back and see if I can find that. I'll see if I can find what you're looking for. Beer Diesel. I just pinned that link that Scratch and PPA dropped. That's my friend Georgia Girl, who is hopefully live now still. Oh, that's a good idea. Thank you, Comfort Green 2. Is this what you were talking about? Beer Lizzie? Beer Diesel Lily? There's a lot of these around that talk about Table Rock and the falls and the history and things like that. There's a lot of history in this town. Things like this all over. For the life of me, I can't imagine I can read this. Table Rock, yeah. I had read this once before. I'll give you a quick look at it. Pardon me while I try to get a light on that. My other phone is going to die any second here. This is the site of the historic landmark Table Rock, a shelf of bare rock 61 meters or 200 feet long, 18 meters or 60 feet wide. One part of the crest of the Horseshoe Falls. It was left isolated when the falls receded. rock falls in 1818, 1828, 29, 50, and 30, 1934 reduced its size. Oh, there goes my other phone. So forgive me. The remaining overhang was blasted off for safety in 1935. So forgive me if I didn't do the best job of reading that. We lost our light right at the last second. That's literally my other phone. Had its limit. Surprised I went through a monster battery and the phone at the same time there. Just plugged in again. We'll see if I can get that going. Forgive me. Let me park myself again. And as I was saying, thank you everybody for hanging out. I really do appreciate that. Every moment that you spend, I appreciate very much. If you haven't already given a thumbs up, I hope that you will. And yeah, it's my pleasure. Hopefully I'll get around to more of these things. And, you know, I always intend on making more videos than I do, but maybe I can get some of that done as well in the coming months. So thanks, everybody. I'm going to cut the stream now, but Scratch and PPA dropped that link for my friend Georgia Girl. I hope you'll go over there. If you don't mind, just mention Kevin K. Raid. Let her know where we came from. And I will try to be back as early as next week, hopefully with a bit more entertaining look, with more people walking around Niagara Falls after the restrictions start to lift. There's that link again. Thanks, everyone.